situation. You have to decide for yourself. Right? That's the fundamental problem. What does that mean? You're looking for a green light from me, which the problem with that is not whether I give you a green light or the red light. The problem that I have with that is that, like, you need to stop looking to me for green lights. But just because you have faith in me does not mean that your attitude has changed. Direct all of your attention towards that point. So see, there it is again. Can I get banned for using my middle finger on Twitch? It's not professional. Yeah, so there's a decent chance I'll lose my job if they find out, but that's okay. Not a big deal. Wrong way to live life. That's true. At the same time, I think as a clinician, and you have to, as a clinician, you play.
This feels
odds,
like
right. So the question is, if I
I'm
take
masturbating with myself in an
and
orgy.
I give them marijuana, and I take 100 people, and I don't give them a Snickers bar, what are the likelihoods that they'll end up in certain places? Does that thought process make sense to you? I don't know if that makes sense, but sunlight and soil. I did the best that I could.
Daddy, what is that sound?
What sound, sweetie?
That sound.
I think that's a lawnmower, Levy.
I think that's a monster.
It's a monster?
Yeah, it's a monster.
Okay.
Has to hide, Daddy.
Okay, you can hide, sweetie. Let's go to the next question. Okay, sorry, I was on a roll there, but okay, this is what I.
At this point in my life is pretty much only about streaming stuff, I think.
So help me understand what you mean by overthinking, or what your, because we're taking advice from chat nowadays. What your chat feels about your overthinking.
I'm trying to think of an example.
Progress in getting out of that because I spend pretty much every waking hour of the day playing video games and watching anime and stuff.
Video games and anime?
Yes.
Other things?
Mostly video games.
Okay.
Browsing Reddit. The usual.
The Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
Reddit, anime, and video games.
The Holy Trinity of not getting anywhere.
You know, my left hand is like, hey, I'm going to drink my water. And then the right hand is like, no, we're not going to drink the water. No, what are you doing? Don't drink the water. And my left hand is like, no, I really want to drink it. And my right hand's like, no, don't drink the water. Potential doesn't apply to that person. Shame doesn't apply to that person. Failure doesn't apply to that person. There's no failure. Like, either you sip the water or you don't. You spilled it, so be it. You can be a water sipper. You can be a water spiller. Fine. Spill the water. Spill it. Right? It's cold. It's icy. Spill it. Feel the sensation. It's ice cold. It's now in my crotch. It feels a little bit unpleasant at first, but as you focus on the sensation, what happens? Your mind was like, oh, thoughts. Oh my God, thoughts. And you're like, let's do this.
I play a grandma character, or I do older characters. I try to be like a grandfather. And they would say something like, if you don't go to the store and buy me a gift card, I will come to your house and shoot you. And the first few times I heard that, you don't know what to say. And there's this moment of, wow, how could another person say this to a human being? And then I think the more that I've done it, maybe I'm desensitized.
Like, because you're a fucking predator, man. Right? Oh, you're a dumbass. Shut up.
Right.
You look like an idiot. No one here likes this other relationship, right? This 2.5-year relationship.
Yep.
I think the biggest problem with that relationship is that you let her get away with giving less than 50%. Because you wanted the relationship to work so hard that you gave 100%. And thereby, you let her off the hook. If you want to feel loved and if you want a relationship to work out, you can't do all of the work. You just can't, right? You've got to let her do her part. The problem is that if you let her do her part, you're ceding control that she may not do it, and then the relationship could fail, and you're ceding control. You see that?
Yes. And it's always weird because I always feel like I'm never in control.
Yep.
And so thus I'm fighting against those invisible walls again, trying to gain back that sense of powerlessness.
Yes. So you've got to let yourself be powerless. someone not loving you, when that feeling of not being loved arises within you, you push harder and harder and harder and harder and harder, and it doesn't cause the mountain to move, and it just leaves you exhausted.
I think you figured me out, Dr. K.
What does that do for you, though? I figured you out. Fantastic. I'm gonna go have lunch now. Go fuck yourself.
And like the problem, I feel like I come to like very similar conclusions. Just I feel like your conclusion is super eloquent and like how it encompasses everything. It's just I'm like I'll get to the point where like okay, like the problem is coming from me. How do I stop this? How do I do it?
Exactly.
Yes.
So what do you do with this, man? What do you think? We're here for your half-formed thoughts. Like, that's what we want, man. And like, it's not I'm not expecting you to have everything figured out. If you had everything figured out, you would go on a show, like you would go on Destiny's stream and like debate him, right? Like people on Destiny's stream like know what they know and they know what they think, and their beliefs are firmly held. Like that's why this is the opposite. Like I want people who don't understand what on earth they think, because I don't understand what on earth you think. Did you think that maybe you would be better if you were black?
Yep.
And being black is important because you'd have a bigger dick?
And look better, taller. Yeah.
So you don't have that advantage. Like this guy has the. I know it sounds. Why are you laughing? What's funny?
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny.
What's funny about it?
Nothing.
It's fucking weird to say, isn't it? Say it.
Yeah,
out loud.
no,
Yeah, it's fucking weird to say, man.
Yeah.
We were both thinking about the dick size, right?
No.
Nope. Oh, just me then. I just think
just
about
part of the
dick size when it comes to black men.
Part of the
That's just
package
all.
when you're
like there are obese and overweight, especially like women. Like this is, I mean, I could be wrong statistically about this, but my perception is that it's women who like want people to be like accepting of all body types. So they'll post about like, there's no such thing as fat, and they'll be like overweight, and it's usually women. At least social media has led me to believe that. And the paper that I looked at was looking predominantly at women. And the funny thing is that like women who want men to accept them for being overweight and treat them the same as someone who's not overweight are not willing to date overweight men. So that's common. We're all like that. I think it's all ego.
Yeah, and it's just like I never think about that kind of thing. But thank you so much for answering.
I asked you a question. Your attack penalty will decrease, and you'll start hitting things. Hopefully women. But I've just noticed that like sometimes when I'm feeling bad, it's satisfying to crush a noob on the internet. And like sometimes I feel better about that. And I think you've got to be careful about letting your emotions out in video games, which I think can be healthy. And also like there's some kind of balance, which I'm not really sure about like when does that become toxicity? Right? When I make a Smurf and all I do on video games is like crushing noobs, like that's not healthy. But I think occasionally crushing a noob from time to time, I want to say that that's healthy because it feels so damn good.
Yeah.
What kind of relationship do you and your fiance have? What does that mean?
We have an open relationship.
And so I have an idea of what that means. What do you mean? Can you help me understand what that means?
like we're able to like see people both romantically and sexually.
I had a relationship with Destiny and I felt like I was in love with him. I may make you feel like I'm the one, or I may make you feel like I think I'm the one, but that's not because I'm trying to make you feel a certain way. It's because I want Destiny all to myself. So let me see if I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to use like an analogy with food. Okay?
Okay.
So I was eating eggs and toast this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sitting next to my 2-year-old, and she wanted a bite of my eggs,
And I said, sure, honey, take a bite of my eggs. And then I asked her, can I have a bite of your eggs? And she said, no. Yeah, so let me ask you again. Is the polyamorous relationship painful for you?
Yes, some.
And if we ask you why you do it, your answer is because you really love being loved by destiny, and you want other people to experience that love. So I think we have another case of something actually being quite painful for you, and it sounds like it's been pretty rough over the last year, and you're willing to do it to make other people happy, to give other people the opportunity to be loved by destiny. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it sounds very correct.
So I think the tricky thing for you, Melina, is I wonder how you would feel if you started putting yourself first.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I've...
I'm a big fan of Destiny because I just have a lot of respect for him. Like, I think he's one of the very few people who practices what he preaches. So I think that he doesn't take things at face value, and the conclusions that he comes to are really like thought out, and he's very open-minded. So I respect him for that. And I just personally, I like him. Like, I enjoy watching his stream. Like, I find him to be entertaining. Why am I a fan for you? Because I think that you are a good person. I'm not so sure he is, but I think he chooses to be good. And
You don't think he's a good person?
I think he chooses to be good.
Yeah.
Which I respect more than someone who has to be good, which is you. So I think you're not actually in control of your goodness, which I think is actually a problem. But I think that you're a wonderful person, and I think that the world needs more people like you, and the world would be a better place if there were more people. Yes, yeah. Beautiful, right? So you guys can see it, like, especially we can see your clavicle, like your collarbone.
What does that mean?
The right side of your neck. So because of the shirt that you're wearing, you can actually see the way that you're taking a breath really very easily. So that's very helpful, actually. What's it like being raised by babysitters?
Fine. I don't feel like I ever really had a problem with it. I didn't realize until like high school that it was weird that they we only called one of them mom, but I didn't realize until high school that was like strange or like abnormal.
Okay, I'm gonna repeat back what I heard. We only called one of them mom.
Yes, I hear it, but I didn't realize growing up that was abnormal.
Sure. I think makes you remarkable is that you chose to be what you are. Right? That you had, like, that you chose to, like, be the person that you shouldn't be. That's what I think makes you amazing. Like, so I think, you're in a world of, I forget, what kind of, like, what, a red-tailed hawk is pretty big?
Yeah.
So, like, you're in a world of where everyone's saying that a red-tailed hawk is what you should be, and you're a kestrel. And I think the people that killed themselves were kestrels that pretended to be red-tailed hawks and then realized that they couldn't take down the kind of prey that red-tailed hawks go for.
Yep. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I try to touch and fondle as many people as I can. And this can be everything. So we just talked to someone who had a waifu. You know what that is?
No.
Okay.
I saw it in chat. What is it?
So it's like when someone has a sort of like a semi-fictional relation. They have a real relationship with like a fictional character.
Ah, okay.
So they have a girlfriend who's like an anime character. And this guy seemed to recognize that you can't really have a relationship with something that doesn't exist, but some people like have a relationship, like go on dates with this person. So they'll take like a little iPad that has like a picture of it, and then they'll like go to a restaurant and they'll seat the iPad across from them.
Wow. Okay.
And then they'll have dinner. So people can say that waifus are real or fake or whatever, relationship, not relationship. But one of the things that I've come to appreciate is that feelings are real. And it doesn't matter whether feelings come from fake places. Feelings themselves are real and have to be addressed. Like when I'm working with someone with anxiety, and even though everyone doesn't actually hate them, they feel hated by other people because that's what happens when you're anxious.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do any good to tell them, oh, by the way, no one actually hates you. That doesn't do anything to the feeling. The feeling is real and needs to be dealt with. Like, it needs to be considered. And so you sort of, you had convinced me that waifus are quote unquote real and not weird from the second that your defining point, and you did this right at the get-go, is that it's a feeling of romantic love towards something that doesn't exist. And so feelings towards things that don't exist happen all the time, right? And now by don't exist, I mean that you can define or prove, like, for example, God.
This is the end right here. This is where it's supposed to end. I feel like I took it to a place where
I figured you out. Fantastic. I'm going to go have lunch now. Go fuck yourself.